Thank you very much. And it's my pleasure to introduce screenwriter Macon Blair. And Keough, Julian Antelope. Detective Marion West, James Badgedale. Medora Sloan, Riley Keough, Hubby Vernon, Alexander Skarsgård. Yeah. And Russell Ford, played by Jeffrey Wright.
There's a lot of things that I've been thinking about this beautiful film since I've seen it, and I wondered if I could take the opportunity to ask some of you, perhaps beginning with Mr. Wright. These are really complex, multifaceted characters. Can you speak a bit about how you approach this role and perhaps your process working with Jeremy?
Yeah, it was a pretty straightforward approach. It was really just trying to be beholden to Macon's script and to the book. I found it to be, when I read it, just one of the most descriptive and lyrical and evocative scripts that I'd been given. And the architecture of the storytelling was really well considered. So literally sitting inside scenes, I would look around and go, wow, this is really good. And because I could feel the story moment to moment, just in the structure of the scenes. And it just kind of provided a momentum through them. So I just, read the words and keep it simple. And then Jeremy creates an environment that's very clear as well. As you can see, his frames aren't random. And so there's a lot of information that you derive from that as well. He also has this wonderful, infectious love for the process and love for film. And so, I just threw myself into it and tried to be infected by his spirit and go for it.
And you did, thank you. Mr. Skarsgård, your character has a lot of momentum. Can you, as he speaks here, can you speak a bit about your approach to it? This is a really interesting character.
Yeah, I was dying to find a light comedy or something. And then this came along and it was perfect timing. I try to avoid an arc. I try to avoid, not nuance, but I didn't want, the approach was slightly different to how I normally work, where it was important that it wasn't, his actions aren't it's not PTSD, it's not something that happened in the war that caused this, or I saw it almost as, he's like an arrow that cut, no pun intended, but cuts through the story, and he exists in a vacuum in a way, and it was quite intimidating and scary in the beginning because it was so different the way I tried to avoid that kind of the traditional arc that I'm after, so it was scary, but we had a lot of fun, Jeremy and I, and kind of finding that and discovering who Vernon Sloan was.
And your character, Riley, we begin and end with her. She symbolizes so much. Can you talk a little bit again about your approach to the character?
Well, luckily, between the book and Macon and Jeremy, there was sort of a really strong idea about who she was. I think the difficult part would have been trying to find empathy for her, maybe. That was challenging. Playing a mother is difficult, and playing a mother going through loss is difficult, and then on top of that, trying to figure out what type of person would kill their child is difficult. So it was more about figuring out who she was inside, and Jeremy and I talked about that a lot, and because at the end of the day you have to love them, which can be difficult sometimes, but yeah, I think it was mostly Jeremy and Macon and I coming up with.
I felt empathy for her.
So did I.
Yes. And you then, sir, could you speak a little bit about your approach? Maybe you've got your name, thanks.
I mean, my approach is just keeping up with Jeffrey. Yeah, it's I just to keep it short. I mean, Jeremy and I, we talk about this idea of just holding the light with Mary, because the circumstances will take us into the darkness, and let's just keep it kind of a counterbalance, and just stay present, be a normal human being, listen.
Yes. And to you, sir, played such a pivotal, powerful role in this story. Can you talk about how you perceived your character and approached it?
Thanks. To approach it, Macon, thanks to the writing, there was no acting required. My approach to it was, I had to take a step back from it. I mean, especially after reading the script. I read the book, and then I got the script, and I read through it, and there was a lot of things that kind of hit home, I guess, with like the political views, like in Native and non-Native communities. So those were very present for me, and but I didn't want to. I was afraid of making the mistake of making Cheon not what he was up there, but like what there could have been a lot of wrong avenues to go down. So I wanted to give him some vulnerability and to have that connection with Sloan. So it's it's about what's not being said, and it's about the spaces in between. And basically, for me, I'm just happy to be sharing space with these folks over here and these folks. And I'm an actor who just runs on instinct, really.
Bless your instincts. Mr. Blair, I'd like to speak to you in your capacity as the screenwriter. Can you speak a little bit about the challenges of adapting a novel? Is this the first time you've adapted a novel?
No, I've adapted another novel in the past and some short stories, but this one, the challenge was just not messing up William's beautiful book. I mean, it was fully formed and just really enchanted me, and also Jeremy when he read it, so it was just about not wanting to mess up what was so perfect about it in the first place. The novel is, we were faithful mostly to the events of the novel, but so much of it was internalized, like a lot of it's taking place inside Cora's head or inside Burnham's head. So it was just figuring out how to sort of externalize those things. But largely we just, when in doubt, would look to the book for guidance.
Well, you still did a tremendous job. Congratulations.
Thank you.
I'd like to open it up for... there's a question there.
Yes, for Macon Blair. You've written other films or written other scripts for Jeremy Saulnier. You've written a script that you directed yourself. When you write, are you thinking about who's going to direct it, and what sort of calculus is happening to decide whether it's for yourself or for Jeremy?
I'll repeat the question if I could. The question is for Mr. Blair. When you write, because you've written for that other people have directed, you've directed yourself, when you are going through your process, do you think about that? Who's going to direct it? Excuse me.
Yeah, I think if I didn't know who was going to direct it, then I would probably leave things a lot more open to interpretation, so that I'm not sort of giving too much to stepping on somebody's toes and giving them room to take it where they want it. But since I knew that this one was for Jeremy, I specifically tried to. We've known each other for very long, so it was about thinking about what he loves about movies and what, like, I could tell which scenes were going to get cut anyways, because I know what he likes and doesn't like, so I was definitely trying to write to please him, because that was the thing, is when I read the book, I was like, oh shit, Jeremy can make a dynamite movie out of this, and so it was all about, like, trying to tailor it specifically for his many strengths.
Oh, thanks.
All right. Go ahead. necessary to kill so many policemen? I'm going to assume this was.
Let's blame Giraldi for that.
Yes.
Yes. Not and sorry, what I mean is that it's not necessary to specifically kill policemen. It was necessary for that scene to be extended and horrific. And I think it's about a lot of things, but to me it was about people that are in desperate situations, and then you have access to really devastating weaponry. And it was not meant to be like a fun, like Cowboys and Indians. It was meant to be like a horror scene. And so protracting that and making it as horrific and as far as how the people are affected, what's going on, the loss of life, that did seem important. We tried not to be cavalier about it, but that was the thinking that went into that sequence.
I'd like to ask you, Jeremy, about both the cinematography, the use of shadow and light in this film is remarkable, but also the soundscape, which is very, very emotionally evocative. Can you talk about working with the designers of that?
It's really all one thing. I mean, from performance, if anyone on this cast did not bring it, they would negate all the craft that goes into every shot. We have the production designer Warren Smith here tonight, and the world that he built for us was just incredible. It was a perfect translation of the atmosphere that Geraldo created in the book, and then Macon translated, of course. And the cinematography, Magnus, our DP, he was sort of amazing, and also his spirit, that sort of that vitality of just being around someone who really loves to make motion pictures with a positive attitude, and just a really elegant aesthetic. And he was suggested to me, actually through Ryan and Anish and the producers. They had done a film called Lean on Pete, who played here last year. And I'm a former cinematographer, so it's in my blood. And assessing his work, he was an easy choice. And it's really the quality of his lighting. I'm definitely a collaborator when it comes to how to place the camera, how to move the camera. And as Jeffrey said, it was very much designed. Some of it was the most designed work I've ever done in my career, in the shootout especially, just because of the logistics, the pyrotechnics. There wasn't a single green screen on this set the entire film. It's a testament to the crew and the cast, and all pulling it off practically in camera.
It's remarkable. Thank you.
If anyone posts a photo of behind the scenes with a little green screen, there's probably one for a second unit, but that's about it.
Liar.
Go ahead, sir. The gentleman is saying that in all of your collaborations you don't shy away from violence, and he's wondering how you work towards that. What's your process and how you put that on the screen?
Yeah, I mean, I've said it before, I do have to address this often, but I gravitate towards kinetic, high-stakes filmmaking. I like apparel because my home life is so fucking full of love, joy. I want to sit down and watch a movie like I want to be transported, and that was a key to this movie. It was not just violence, it was being taken on an odyssey. My films are often very contained by design, so if the powers that be say no, then we get our credit cards, do our Kickstarter, and do it ourselves. And this was just a huge movie by my standards. So what was I talking about?
How you work together.
Violence, yes. I was trying to avoid that. No, it has to have high impact. It has to have a certain cinematic narrative value, and the goal is to have you ask why. Why did so many people have to die? Because it hurt. Not fuck yeah. Some movies, which I enjoy, do that, but I'm in that space now where I do have reverence for the loss of life, and it has to be grounded, and it's all about the human performances and the stakes, and it should hurt.
We have time for one more question. Yes, right there.
Yeah, there's a mystical element to the movie. I was wondering, is that taken from the book? Did Macon for Jeremy to create that, or was that also from the indigenous people that you talked to in the area that added to that as well?
I love that question. There's a mystical element to the film. Was that something that was from the novel? Is it something you created, or working with the indigenous people where you shot the film?
I mean, you can start because the novel to you was the first translation.
Yeah, it was very much a part of the novel, and that was the thing that was one thing that I thought would be interesting for Jeremy to tackle, because his earlier films were very grounded, and there was no mysticism, anything like that. So that felt new. And the other thing was I just liked how in the book there was a couple of characters, the lady in the village, the old hunter, and then there was a third character that actually ended up not being in the movie, but they kind of represented this idea that maybe what's going on between these characters is a curse or something mystical like that. And so if that's what, if that's what you wanted to believe about it, then that would be correct. But there's also the version where it's just like, no, these are people without a lot of resources, and they're very isolated and alone, and it led to a horrible circumstance. Like there's the clinical, scientific explanation for this, and then there's the mystical one. So wanting to sort of have both of those in the movie always felt very important.
Yeah, some of that sort of veered towards the supernatural. What's happening? And Megan's right. I do like hyper-terrestrial movies. I like super grounded, realistic. But it was a fun challenge to kind of incorporate this mysticism. And even supernatural, if other people in the film believed it. As a filmmaker, I didn't go there, but I allowed it to be real within the construct of the story and the belief systems that were there.
Brainiac over here.
I'm afraid that we've run out of time. I'm sorry. Thank you so much for bringing this film.